Hello, hello, hello. My name's Natasha Nurse. If you don't already know me, I'm the owner and co-founder of Dressing Roommate, which is a coaching and consulting business dedicated for women entrepreneurs and women creatives and professional women, just women looking essentially for personal and professional transformation with use of positive thinking, fashion, mindset techniques, and so much more. And if you are new to my platform, please go to dressingroom8.com. That's the website. That's where you'll learn more about moi, as well as the content that I put out, and all of my Facebook lives. Obviously, if you're on Facebook and you're tuning in, that's awesome. All of my online events and in-person events will be listed in my calendar. So on dressingroom8.com. On the right-hand side, you'll see the calendar for the rest of July, August, and the rest of this year. And I continually add to that calendar, so definitely stay on the lookout. And so with that, I'd like to get fully started. What are we here to talk about? We're here to talk about how to use social media for good. And I think this is an important topic, not just for me, but for other content creators who are tuning in, whether you have a business, whether you're just creating content because that's just like your thing and you love to do it. I've been in my feelings a little bit about some of the content that I see out there. And I was just talking on my podcast, Woken Free with my husband, shout out to my beloved Khalil. And, I was saying essentially in the podcast for Woken Free Wednesday that ultimately we all have an inner advocate. And because, like I said, I've been in my feelings a little bit about some of the content that I've been seeing out there, I wanted to share my thoughts, and not on a rag on X person, because that is definitely not my platform. That is definitely not what I'm about. But I want to talk about essentially the bigger picture of why we're doing social media, why we're creating content, and what does it mean to create it for good. And again, these are my beliefs, my perspective. So this is a conversation. Totally write in, share your comments with me, ask questions so that we can have an open dialogue. But I just wanted to share my thoughts. So first, why are we using social media? First of all, it's a platform, right? Whether you want to share what you're eating this morning, how you feel about politics, whole other episode, guys. How you feel about fashion, what's going on in news, what are new scientific discoveries, what's the fastest car, right? Just a platform to share a plethora of your thoughts. So that's really cool. Secondly, growing awareness about what's going on with the immigration issues in this country, what's going on with environmental matters, what's going on with feminism, Me Too movement, Nia Wilson, rest her. I hope she can get justice for what has happened to her. If you're not aware, just Google hashtag Nia Wilson and you will totally see it. It's horrible. And all sorts of issues, right? There's a lot of things that are happening every day in our lives, continual issues. Social media is a great way to bring awareness to stuff like that. Connecting with friends and family, right? That's, I think, what Facebook started off. I definitely see a lot of their ads are talking about they're trying to get back to their roots. And so there's definitely that piece of it where it's just like, hey, relative, I haven't seen you in 10 years. How you doing, right? So there's that way that you can use social media, as well as building brand awareness for businesses, entrepreneurs, startups, things that, I love to talk about. That's definitely my wheelhouse that I love. Learning new information, right? I think every single day you can learn something new. And I think social media actually is a really great avenue for delivering that content to us. I definitely have learned new things about different parts of the country, about different parts of the world, new cultures, new inventions, new trends, all sorts of just new, right? Just oh my gosh, this is really cool. Social media is delivering that to us. So it's a very powerful platform in that sense. And then meeting new people. Now, I'm happily married, so I'm not necessarily meeting people on a romantic thing, but I definitely have appreciated the new friendships that I've developed, the new business colleagues and opportunities for my own business, for me just professionally, friendships, just general friendships, right? But all of those different ways. You could meet your next boo, you can meet your next friend, you can meet your next business partner, you can, lots of different types of relationships that can develop from social media, including cat fishing and all that stuff. So you have to actually be on the lookout for genuinity and like sincerity and real people, right? And that there's like all sorts of content. If you don't know about that you can look that up. So ultimately, okay, so the list goes on and on, right? I don't actually have to go on with that. I think it's clear to you guys that why social media is in use, why it's super, super impactful, why it's super good. Some of the downsides, right? We all know, but if you want to name them, now's the opportunity to do so. Right now, I'm going to shift gears and say, okay, so social media, a lot that we can do. So what is using social media for good? So I've come up with a couple of categories I'd like to talk about. And again, chime in, let me know what you're thinking. First and foremost, I would say the biggest thing I've seen for why social media can be used for good is education, right? I think that no one lives their life saying, I knew too much, I knew everything. No. Like, no. And if you know someone like that, please let me know, because I never, ever, ever in my entire life have ever felt like I know everything. There's nothing I can gain from this. I've heard people say that, and I've heard people say that on social media. And again, that's why we're having this conversation. But typically, you can learn something new about people, about society, about culture, about your industry, about business, about fill in the blank. So education is a really great way to use social media for good, because you can share knowledge, you can give how-to guides. As a coach, as a consultant, I'm able to provide content that delivers something for you in your personal life, in your career, in your business, right? That you maybe didn't know, or maybe I presented it in a way that's new to you. So education, yay, yay, yay. That's definitely a rah-rah. Inspiration and motivation, right? How many of us love to hear these affirmations? We like positive content that pushes us, that rah-rahs us to go and do what we have to do. Some of you are parents. Hi, Ty. Thanks for joining. Some of us are, I'm a pet mom, so I love content about dogs and cats and stuff like that. But inspirational, motivational content fuels us, and it helps us do what we need to do, what we've set out to do in our daily lives, in our weekly lives, our monthly, quarterly, annual, right? Like it's kind of this like energy that is provided. And so I think that's another really great use of social media for good. A third category would be breaking news. How do we all find out about when someone unfortunately has lost their life, when someone has been in a car accident? Shout out to people who are suffering from various, diseases, overdoses, stuff like that. Like, Demi Lovato, right? My prayers are with you. Like, people who are going through stuff, we find out a lot of that through social media. So it might always not be good news, right? I do want to preface that we get breaking news, and that's education, but thanks. Getting ready for work and you wanted to see what I'm talking about. Yep. So social media for good. Thanks for joining. Yes, continue to tune in. And next category is connecting folks, right? I like to think of myself as a master connector. There's a lot of people who will come to me and ask me to connect them with another person, but I'm also the kind of person who likes to sit and think about especially for my clients, right? If I'm working with you and you said, I'm trying to do X, Y, Z, and I'm like, I know these X, Y people that could help you, right? Social media is a super easy way to just be like, hey, I'm just going to do group chats and message people and get everyone talking, right? So I think another really great utilization of this social media as a whole is a connector. It's a really easy bridge that you can build for yourself and for other people. And again, this works on a personal level, for your career, for your business. So with multi-tiered kind of connecting, that really, really is awesome. Thanks, Ty. Another way to use social media for good, opportunities. A lot of people and businesses that I've worked with, it's thankfully been through opportunities where people slide into the DM and they're like, hey, I like that you're doing this. Do you want to do X, Y, Z, right? So it's a great like opportunity resume builder for your business, for you as a person, for your career. So I think that's a really great way to use social media. If you're trying to offer an opportunity to someone to collaborate, to work together, to build each other up in each other's platforms, hells yeah, right? Like that's phenomenal to do. Another way to use social media for good, documenting your experience. Shout out to Gary Vaynerchuk. You know him. He's a social media mogul, badass, all day, every day. Gary, I'm going to check out your new thing that you launched, I think yesterday. So like, I'm all about it. He is always telling entrepreneurs, people, millennials, older people, like, go out here, document your experience. What the hell are you doing in your life? And how can you better your business, create a business, all sorts of different things, right? So yeah, Tyro, I'm trying to start a plus size clothing line, definitely need help. Awesome, exactly. So now he is either shouting that out to me or Gary. Yes. So Gary Vaynerchuk, if you happen to watch this on the live or replay, shout out, do a connection here with Ty. And of course, Ty, if you want to talk to me, my email is natasha@dressingroom8.com. So you can always feel free to email me. And also you can talk to me on social here and give me your email and we can talk. But yeah, exactly. Like, hey, Ty's giving a perfect example. He's trying to build something for himself, and he's going to use social media and social media thought leaders to provide the insight and thoughts that he's looking for to better himself, his business, ... Another way that you can use social media for good is furthering, too fast, okay, natasha@dressingroom8.com. Okay, so yeah, so I'll say it again. Anyone tuning in, if you want to email me, if I'm saying something you're like, ooh, I want to email her, Natasha, Natasha, @dressingroom8.com. And at the end of this, I also will include my email address just in case you need it again. But, and then of course, visit dressingroom8.com for the website, and my contact information's on the bottom there. Okay. So with that, the next thing is to use social media for good to further your goals, right? So, and I say this with the preface of not harming others. So, thanks, Ty. If you are looking to further your perspective, put content out there that is in tune with you, as long as it's not hurting other people, I think that is important, because you can have a great perspective, right? I'm talking about what I'm talking about right now, but if I'm intentionally hurting someone else, then that's not coming from a good place in this world. And so that's important. Like, I want, you love my speaking voice. Oh, thank you. I appreciate the support. If you are trying to do something, but you're harming other people, you have to really take a step back and think about the greater impact. And thank you, Ty. And why you feel like that is necessary, because we are all human beings together on this planet. And regardless of the distance between us or the different narratives that we have, it's important that we recognize what holds us together as people. And shout out to Gabrielle Bernstein, because I read her book, The Universe Has Your Back, and she has so many different gems in there too. If you're looking for like gem dropping book, yes, go to dressingroom8.com, and on my recommendations page, her book is right there, babies. Go ahead and get that book, because it will literally, like, I'm still thinking about various sections that I've read, and I'm just like, this girl gave me life. Like, yes, she's so amazing. And one of the phrases that she says is, she was talking about having discord with another person, and she said, I have to remember that I am the other person. So what does that mean? The next time you're speaking to someone and you feel like popping off, and you feel like having a nasty, awesome. Thanks, Ty. When you feel like having a nasty exchange for someone, The Universe Has Your Back. That's the title of the book, just in case you're looking. And Gabrielle Bernstein is her name. When you're having discourse with another person and you think, and you're like about to curse them out, or, kind of get into a nasty exchange with the person, remember the phrase, you are the other person. right? And what would that do? That would you want to be cursed at? Would you want somebody coming at you and speaking crazy to you? No, you wouldn't. So if we all like took a moment to think about that, I think it would change how we interact with each other. Because if you are the other person, then you're going to respect that person. Why? Because the golden rule of life that we're all taught, I don't care what language and what landmass, is really ultimately you want people to treat others how we want to be treated, right? And so if you are the other person, right, then you wouldn't curse that person out. You wouldn't shoot that person. You wouldn't try to harm that person. You wouldn't take opportunities away from that person because you are the other person, right? So profound. So thank you, Gabrielle Bernstein. You're dope. You're amazing. The universe has your back. Love that book. And so, and the last part I would say, and there's lots of different reasons. These are just reasons I came up with for today's session. Revolutionizing media, furthering the narrative. And so, thank you, Ty. Yeah. He says, preach, guys. So I'm going to preach. I live to serve, guys. So revolutionizing media, this I think definitely comes down to people like Gary Vaynerchuk, people who are telling us how we can take our content to the next level. Another person who's really great at talking about content, upping your content game, Dan Norris, Content Machine book, just read that. 2 thumbs up again on the recommendations page of dressingroomnumber8.com. You will love it, guys. Get the reading game in because they are talking about things that like I'm talking about right now, which is, you know, I think social media for good means that we're taking it to the next level. The reason why we're all doing video is why? Because video is like now the surge. Hi, Kai. Thanks for joining. And so with that, I think what we're going to do, because again, time is of importance, is we're going to shift gears. We talked about how to use social media for good. Now let's talk about what that doesn't include, right? So that we're very clear. And this is where I was beginning the conversation of saying, I've been in my feelings. So number one with a bullet for me is what I would say not using social media for good is ranting. Whether you rant in a written post, whether you rant in a video, ranting is neither professional nor is it helpful for you or your audience. Now, granted, are there people who have used ranting as a way to escalate their social media game? That's how they've gotten followers. That's how their content has gone viral. Absolutely. But just because something is popular doesn't mean that it's good, right? And just because a lot of people tune into something doesn't mean that it's helpful, nor does it mean that it's furthering our society, right? So I think that it depends on, again, what's your intention as the content creator, as the consumer. For me, I want to consume goodness. And whether that means that 10 billion people are choosing to tune into this or 10 people are choosing to tune into something, I want to consume something that is going to feed my mind, body, or soul. And I want to also put out content that is going to fuel your mind, body, or soul. But, you know, at the end of the day, how does a rant fit into that? It doesn't fit into the equation. Please stop. Like, please stop. I've seen so many professional leaders, thought leaders, they rant and rant and rant, and I'm just very confused because it's like, A, you know better, boom boom, and then B, did that help? Did you somehow feel liberated? Did you somehow feel the negativity leave your body? No, you didn't, because what you gave into it is you actually enraged yourself more because you went in harder, and then people might have chimed in through the comments, and it becomes a cycle of negativity and nastiness, and it's unnecessary. So please stop. Just like, please stop yourself. And I have a couple of questions I'm going to share with you guys to think about and ask yourself the next time you want to put content out. Because if you go through these questions, maybe you'll stop yourself from making these mistakes, like doing a rant. Or next, spewing hatred and bigotry, racism, you know, anti-Semitic content, fill in the blank, right? Any type of negative hatred. I see this more so now with our political climate. I think that people feel like they have like an all-day pass to just go in and call people any type of name that they feel, to say, oh, what you're saying is stupid, to say what you're saying is anti administration, anti this, da, 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 all these different categories of whatever they feel like. Like I said, it's like a free pass. This is very unfortunate. America, we can do better. And people, we can do better, right? Whether you're here in America with me or whether you're internationally, we've got to see that we are the other person, what I was mentioning before, right? Thank you, Gabrielle Bernstein. We cannot continue to spew negative, nasty hatred to each other. It's crazy. Yes, exactly, Ty. It doesn't make any sense. And this is not using social media for good. This is not what we should be doing on Twitter and having Twitter wars. And you know, it's just less than human that we can do. Okay, yeah, so I just show up so I don't get fined. Gotcha, sir. Next is intentionally sharing fake news. So when you intentionally share information that is not true, that is not accurate, I definitely don't think that's a good use of social media, and definitely not use of using social media for good, because what is it doing? It's putting out negativity. It's changing the narrative in a less than positive way, and it's causing confusion. It can even cause hysteria, right? And so I think that, and I would add to that, like another category being bad stuff, right? So when you intentionally go out and you share things that are deemed fraud, things that are illegal, anti-human rights, anti-animal rights, anti-feminism, anti any of that stuff, right? That is not a good use of social media. I think a lot of us know this, but you know, I figured, hey, maybe if you don't, you had the conversation with me, maybe you'll think about it. Another use is trolling, attacking people. If you don't agree with what someone is saying, if for instance you don't agree with what I'm saying right now, that's totally fine. You have a human right not to agree with me. We all do. But you know, if you were to do that, watch this and then leave me a comment calling me a horrible name or trying to attack me instead of the words from which I spoke, we are not having healthy debate or an open dialogue, which is what we all should be striving for. Open dialogue. It's okay to disagree. Attack the words, not the person, right? And don't just put out negative commentary just cause you want to, right? I think you know, a lot of people talk about this on TV, on social media, about how people get like so gung-ho behind their computer and they're like, I can say anything. Well, yeah, you can say anything, but should you? Right? What's the cost of you doing that? What is the greater issue that's being drummed up by so many people going down this path and doing this, right? We have people killing themselves. We have people harming themselves. What is the true cost of negativity? Think about it, right? Get back to me. Another thing that I see on social media that I would not deem as sharing it for good would be oversharing. So maybe you enjoy sharing what you eat for breakfast. Maybe you enjoy sharing your lunch, like food blogging and food journaling and all that stuff is probably very big now than it's been probably ever. So I'm not anti that. I share sometimes certain food things that I'm eating. I think that that's cool. But, you know, I think that everyone has to have a line, right, in their sand, right? So if you're a social media beach, figure out what your line in that sand is going to be. So do I need to know maybe how many times you've gone to the bathroom? Do I need to know, you know, maybe a kind of a personal hygiene fact about yourself? Probably not. So, but this is some of the content that I see put out there by people in my network, outside of my network. And so this is where I then get in my feelings, because I'm just like, but why? Is this social media for good, right? I think we ultimately need to have purpose and doing good in this world, right? In what we say, in what we do, in what we share. So that's another thing to kind of just put out there. Is this oversharing? Is this something that's really necessary? Do I need to know this? If not, less is more, right? That phrase exists for a reason. And then also another category, using people to promote your content. So like, I'm very happy for everyone who has decided to support me personally through my business, right? Fans of Dressed and Roommate, yay, right? Like, I couldn't do what I do without you, right? But I don't necessarily think it's a good idea to just like, you know, when you see those Facebook posts and like someone has tagged like 162 people, like, If you have a relationship with 162 people who you've already pre-established that you can always tag that person in your content, then cool. I've had people say you can always tag me in your stuff, so I do, right? That's awesome. But if you haven't necessarily had that relationship, maybe don't do that because you might cause kind of frustration in another person. Now, if you want to add people to groups, that's another thing. I mean, I'm not necessarily opposed to that because I think that it's providing people context, but it depends, right? Some groups you may not want to be a part of. So, I think we all have to try to figure out what our line in that sand is. But I would say just make sure that when we're sharing our content as content creators, which we all are, whether it's your personal Facebook, whether it's for your LinkedIn profile, whatever the platform, whatever the purpose, make sure that you're coming from a good place is what I would say. Because sometimes you try new things and you want to kind of be experimental, which I think go for it. I think daring and being different and trying new things is a big part of social media success, right? But we have to come from a good place. And so if it seems like it's coming from a good place, then no problem, tag and add and do your thing. But if it seems disingenuous, if it seems kind of like you just did this because you just wanted to and you knew that there's X benefit from this, I think people are going to see through that and have a problem with it. And so with that, I think that is pretty much the list of what is social media for good, what is social media for bad. If you disagree, tell me. If you agree, tell me, let me know. I think that's, again, I'm all about open conversations and creating dialogues. And then the next part, which I mentioned earlier, and we will be wrapping this up because, listen, time is important and you guys are giving me your time. So I truly appreciate that. Questions to ask yourself before you put content out on social media. Is this something that I believe in? Would I want to be associated with this content, right? Would I want my name attached to this? What are the consequences of sharing this? And that, you guys, is a huge question. For some of these people who have put content on Twitter and it has cost them their jobs, you know who you are. What was the consequence of you sharing this content? Is this helpful? Is this necessary? Is this positive? Yes, yes, yes. You need to be able to answer that, and you need to be able to figure out what is the answer so that whether you can move forward or not with the content. What will I gain from sharing this? What are you gaining, right? Because I think that the purpose of sharing information is, yes, it's not a one-way street. You put information, you put content out there, but also what are you getting back? Oh, thanks. Valda, for my aunt says you're sharing some great information. I appreciate it. Thank you. What will you gain from sharing this content? Because yes, you can share content that says like, weird. I'm sharing content that is about maybe I'm going to a family thing or, this is what I'm eating for breakfast. This is what I'm doing at the gym. So maybe these are lifestyle shares, right? And so you're bringing people, again, documenting, bringing people along with the journey. That makes sense. That's fine, right? But then when you share something that is making fun of how someone looks, that is degrading a group of people, that is making fun of a gender assignment, things that are truly heinous. How are you benefiting from that? How exactly is that making your life better? It's not. So don't do it, right? Like, let's have some dignity about who we are, some integrity about what we're doing. And those are some of the questions to ask. And then the last question that I had was, do I need to share this? And I think that that's an important one because just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something, right? So same thing, when someone is speaking to you and they choose to say something to you in a more nastier tone, yeah, you could do it. You could be a total antagonistic, nasty individual. If that's what you wanted to do, sure, have at it. But do you need to do it, right? What is the cost of what you're doing? That is the ultimate question of all the questions that I just shared. Think about that for the next time you're sharing on Facebook, sharing on Twitter, sharing on LinkedIn, sharing on Instagram, sharing on Snapchat. What is the true cost of me doing this, right? And so maybe that'll change your content. Okay, so in summary, because again, I know our time is coming up, I love social media, right? Like I said, I started this conversation sharing that this is a special week for me because I'm going to be creating content and sharing it here every day of the week, Monday through Friday at least, or actually Monday through Saturday. And so I'm excited. I'm excited to put out this content day after day and be here with you. And I appreciate you for coming and joining me on this ride. Again, I do what I do so I can serve you, so that we can have these open dialogues. And it makes me happy to share knowledge. It makes me happy to connect with you. That's what I'm all about. Okay, Regina, thank you. So she wrote, hey, Natasha, this is really great social media etiquette that you're sharing. However, I see it as just like some people chew and talk with their mouths full or eat with their elbows on the table. You'll always have differences happening on the opposite side of the spectrum when it comes to social media and other aspects of life. When we can't change the elements, we have the ability to change ourselves or who and what we follow. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Regina. I appreciate that thoughtful comment. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think we all have different perspectives. Like, for instance, I was suggesting that I'm anti-rant, right? For my own clients, I tell them, if anything, please do not do a rant, right? But there's some people out here who love to do rants. That's their thing. That's how they've built their social media platform. Again, I respectfully disagree. I don't think it's helpful. I don't think it's positive. I don't think it's adding to the narrative of social media in a positive, forward-thinking way. But that's my opinion. That's my perspective. We all come from different places. But at the end of the day, what's the true cost of what we're sharing? How is this? Is this necessary? Is this something I need to share? Right? These are some of the things to think about. And so with that, I say ultimately, I see a lot of really good, right? I see a lot of really good content, a lot of, making me think, things that I enjoy, all that. But I also see a lot of bad. And ultimately, we can do better. We can do better as people. We can do better as content creators. So think about that. And, ultimately, if you haven't seen the hashtag social good, add that to your content. There's a lot of people who are adding, hashtag social good to what they're writing, and it's good, positive stuff, right? So that's one hashtag you can possibly share. Tag me in your posts and things if you want me to see the type of content that you're putting out there. I'm here to cheer you on. I'm here to support you in your life, in your career, in your business. So bring me along for the ride. I appreciate when you join me on this and join me on my journey. And, I just thank you. I thank you for tuning into this on the live. I thank you for tuning into this, the replay, and just last minute things. If you haven't already subscribed to my monthly newsletter, I greatly appreciate if you do. That's where I keep you up to date on events like this that I'm doing, on content that I'm creating, and opening that dialogue so that you can share with me, that I can take you along on the ride on things that I'm talking about when it comes to health, because I've had some new health developments this summer, and I'm now putting out content and sharing that for you guys so that we can talk about it together, that I don't have to deal with my hypothyroidism alone, right? And things like that. So subscribe, please, dressingroomnumber8.com. Then also, if you have any follow-up questions, if you have individual questions that maybe you didn't feel like sharing on this live stream, email me, natasha@dressingroomnumber8.com, and I'll include both of those at the end of this. And then, of course, please share this, right? Sharing is caring. It's how we get content around the world, literally. So if there are people that you know or think can benefit from this, please share this. I greatly appreciate that. And with that, I guess I just have to say, see you soon, right? Like I said, this is a week where I'm doing a lot of different content every day. So I appreciate you for tuning in, and I'll see you soon. Bye.